Welcome, brave listeners, to Wilhelm Presents Frightening Tales. I am your host, Wilhelm. Tune in each week where I entertain my listeners with another dark and creepy tale of the paranormal, donated by authors from all over the world. If you are an author of some paranormal fiction and would like to share a story with my listeners, submit one at frighteningtales.com. While you're there, tune in for more than 120 episodes of previous content. We are so very near the end of the season, where I would like to take a short break to collect another series of dark stories for Season 6. So please, don't hesitate to share your writing. Today's episode is written by Eleazar Nolan. This is a tale that has been passed down through Eleazar's family. I'm told that Eleazar has been hunting for where this story may have originated. It's subtly similar to an old Brothers Grimm tale, the Juniper Tree. This version, like a natural American folk mutation of that old European root. It shifts the bones of the story into Illinois soil, adds religious framing, and swaps the bird transformation for a chilling chant. Honestly, that's folklore doing what it does best, adapting to place, faith, and fear, but unique enough to be something new. Wherever it came from, it is here now and written by Eleazar Nolan and told by Wilhelm. I present The Evil Stepmother. Just like any other child in the early 2000s, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. Of course, my situation was a little different, since my grandmother practically raised me. She was my babysitter until the age of 13. Because of the large amount of freedom my brother and I had, we often found ourselves with unlimited access to TV, no boundaries for exploring the outdoors, and, my favorite part, eating Grandma's home-cooked meals whenever we were hungry. It was truly a place where a kid could be a kid. It wasn't all fun and games, though. She made sure we honored the Sabbath day and raised us to be God-fearing young men. Any disrespect would be met with a slap and a wet rag for chores around the house. Yeah, she was a rough one, but her lessons, through both biblical and personal stories, still guide me to this day. However, there was one story that will forever linger in my mind, always managing to send a slow chill creeping up my spine. This is the story of the evil stepmother. It was a stormy Friday night in Harvey, Illinois. The wind rustled through the open field of a small suburban neighborhood, the train's horn muffled by the harsh rain. Through this peaceful chaos, my grandmother's house stood, the only house in the area that hadn't been robbed. As always, the TV was off and a Bible was forcibly placed in my hands. How I hated this day of the week, but Friday is the Lord's day. I had no choice. She grabbed a medium-sized prayer candle from the cupboard and placed it on a small end table near her futon. "You see that?" she asked, pointing at the still flame. She glanced at my confused yet intrigued face as I tried to decode the meaning behind the prayer candle. "When you see a still candle like this, it means your home is balanced. If the candle flickers, then God isn't pleased with the home." A sunken feeling settled in my stomach as she moved the candle toward me. The moment it reached my direction, the flame began to flicker. "Looks like you've been sneaky. Remember, God is always watching." Oh God, did she find out I ate the cookies out of her snack closet? I thought to myself. An overwhelming fear struck my gullible mind. My blood pulsed faster, giving my brown skin a red undertone. Yahweh isn't one to mess with. She placed the candle back onto the end table, giving me a sincere look. "Do better, EJ." To this day, I still hold on to this superstition, even though I am no longer religious. I hesitantly opened the Bible, my hands trembling, hoping Yahweh wouldn't strike me down for my disobedience. As we went through our Friday service, the rain only intensified, causing the home's lights to flicker a few times, until finally, all power was lost. The only light source was the flickering prayer candle. My brother and I looked at each other, a little scared. We knew that God wouldn't let anything bad happen, especially with Grandma around. She remained stoic despite the power outage, seemingly unfazed as she focused on her Bible lesson, reading out loud. "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." Again, that familiar fear surged through my brother and me as we silently contemplated every bad thing we had ever done. Trust me, it was a long list. Grandma took a sip of her nighttime coffee, relishing the aroma as it mixed with the ominous atmosphere. "You know who really dislikes disobedient children?" she asked with a straight face. We thought Yahweh's name would pass her lips, but instead, she said something that sent a chill down our spines. "The evil stepmother." "The evil stepmother?" my younger brother echoed. "You're telling me your father never told you the story? No wonder you act the way you do." She respectfully closed the Bible and began to tell a story, one that kept both me and my brother up all night. The story begins in the early 1900s in Elgin, Illinois. Mr. Jackson, who had remarried after the death of his wife, was new to the area. Word quickly spread through the community about how easily the stepmother was willing to accept his daughter as her own. However, the community had no idea what really happened behind closed doors. In reality, the woman was cruel, especially when her husband was not around. Isabel, the daughter, was often unfairly mistreated. Compared to her younger brother, she was held to a higher standard. The evil stepmother loved to see Isabel struggle. She would create scenarios where the poor girl just could not win. The result would always be the same: disciplinary actions for disobedience, something the evil stepmother despised. One day, Mr. Jackson left for a business trip, leaving the mother alone with the children. This was common, but for some reason, Isabel had a haunting feeling that something was not right. She pleaded with her father not to go, trying to explain why she did not feel safe with the evil stepmother. Unfortunately, he dismissed her cries as nothing more than a bratty preteen's complaints. The door closed behind him, leaving her in a state of silence, preparing for the difficult days ahead. Immediately, the evil stepmother demanded that Isabel go behead the chickens for supper. She obeyed, but as she worked, she became distracted, playing in the garden. "Isabel," the evil stepmother's voice rang through the house. "What did I tell you to do?" Isabel turned around, her breath catching in her throat. Her stepmother's enraged body loomed towards her, an axe gripped tightly in her hands. "I've had enough of you." Before Isabel could react, the evil stepmother grabbed her by the hair, yanking her head back to expose her neck. With one clean chop, the blade came down and her head was severed. Her lifeless body now discarded in the garden, buried among the angelic flowers, her long dark hair still peeking from the soil. But the evil stepmother had made a terrible mistake. Isabel was not truly gone. Her soul lingered beneath the earth, trapped, pleading for her father's help. Later, when Isabel's brother came looking for her, he wandered to the garden where she usually played, but instead of finding his sister, he could only hear a rhythmic chant from the garden's soul. "Mama gonna cut my head off. Please don't pull my hair." Again he heard her voice. This time, shaken by the eerie chanting tone, fear overtook him. He bolted out of the garden, never daring to return. That night, the authorities were called to the house and a missing person report was filed. The evil stepmother claimed the last time Isabel was seen was in the garden. The officers stepped into the garden. Isabel was nowhere to be found. But then, just as they were about to leave, they heard it. "Mama gone and cut my head off. Please don't pull my hair." The hair on the back of their necks stood up. They froze. The air in their lungs held tight. The voice was beyond the grave. It couldn't be real. It couldn't be a dead person, right? Due to the strange and unexplainable nature of the case, it was quietly dropped. The officers never confirmed with each other what they'd heard in the garden. It was better this way, safer. Mr. Jackson came home a few weeks later, disheartened over the disappearance of his daughter. He couldn't believe Isabel would leave without telling anyone. The police had refused to work on the case, and his son hadn't spoken in weeks. Just a disassociated shell of the boy he once was. Even more strangely, gardeners had been quitting without explanation. The only person who seemed unbothered was his wife. Determined to find answers, Mr. Jackson went to the garden, hoping Isabel had left behind some clue. But, just like everyone else before him, he saw nothing. All he could see was a quickly dying garden and an ominous storm cloud hovering over his home. Despite the clear, sunny day, he stepped forward, collecting mud on his dress shoes. Just when he thought all hope was lost, he heard it.
"Mama gone and cut my head off. Please, don't pull my hair."
He screamed her name. "Isabel! Isabel! Where are you?" "I'm sorry. I didn't listen. Sweetie, please come back." Mr. Jackson dropped to his knees, defeated. He would never see his daughter again. But even as his head hung low, her voice remained soft, rhythmic, and haunting.
"Mama gone and cut my head off. Please, don't pull my hair."
That was when he saw it, a clump of hair protruding from the ground, right beneath him. His hands trembled as he began to dig, dirt and mud caking his fingers. He dug and dug, his heart pounding in his chest until finally he exposed a human head. This can't be. This can't be his baby girl. Not Isabel. With shaky hands, he lifted it, forcing himself to look. Maggots had burrowed through Isabel's decomposing flesh. Her once youthful appearance had looked as if she had aged 80 years beneath the soil. What were once tears shed before her death now oozed from her eyes, thick with white-gray pus. Mr. Jackson let out a guttural scream and dropped the head. It rolled onto the garden floor, lifeless. Mr. Jackson watched as Isabel's head reanimated, slowly turning in his direction. Her decayed jaw barely moved as it struggled to remain connected to the rest of the skull.
"Mama gone and cut my head off. Please, don't pull my hair."
With blind rage, he grabbed the axe from the shed, dragged the stepmother into the garden, and yanked her by the hair, exposing her neck. This was it. The evil stepmother was getting what she deserved. The soil rumbled beneath Mr. Jackson's feet, releasing an eerie psychedelic hum that vibrated through his ears. Flowers that had once wilted and died suddenly bloomed with joy, engulfing the garden in vegetation. With one clean chop, he decapitated her. He buried her in the same garden as his daughter, and just like Isabel, her strive for revenge keeps her alive. Her soul forever lingers after death, seeking to decapitate any child foolish enough to be disobedient. My grandmother took one last sip of her nighttime coffee, savoring the sugary flavor. The room grew silent. My brother and I sat frozen perched on the edge of our seats. "How do you know when she's coming for you?" I nervously asked. She smirked, giving a knowing look. "You already know the answer to that." Then she leaned in closer. In a slow, rhythmic whisper, she sang, "My husband's gone and cut my head off. Please, don't pull my hair." The second story that I'll share with you today is a bit of a mystery. All I know is that it was written by the pen name David Clark. So, without further ado, here is David Clark's A Retrieved Memory. Placing my head on the pillow again led to a never-ending display of worry, anxiety, and awful memories. I eloquently called it the parade. This parade encompassed painful experiences of the day, as well as regret and haunting recollections, as if this collection's sole purpose was to make me feel miserable. A decent night's sleep has been a yearning for me since I can remember. I couldn't get any help from my doctor other than the well-known regurgitation of, "It's stress. Work out. Try relaxing music. Have you ever heard of mindfulness? Oh, eat healthy too." What nonsense. Thank you. I can't believe I paid to hear what a website told me for free, I thought. His face and my frustration were members of the parade too, now. My room was silent and dim. Weak lights filtered through the drapes from the vacant streets. That gave pace to my imagination. I turned every diffused object in there, even spots on the wall, into a menace. My old brown coat that hung on the wall played the role of a thief or a killer. The small chandelier would become a gigantic, poisonous bug about to catch me. The lights from the car that drove by generated moving shadows, turning the chairs back into frightening arms that reached for me. I expected that new anguishes, even if ephemeral, would stop the revision of the old ones, but it never worked out that way. Minutes passed. A sensation of heat embraced me, and the atmosphere felt asphyxiating. The sharp order, "Sleep!" came from my mind over and over, but its echo caused the opposite effect. At certain times, all the memories from the parade formed a choir, yelling at me at once and causing a strident clamor. Sweat beading on my forehead, yet I had goosebumps at the same time. My hands trembled. I guessed that my night would be like all the others, a tiresome effort of battling my insomnia, a fight from which I always emerged unsuccessfully. My girlfriend had decided to stay that night. "You need company," she said. I loved her like I have never loved anyone. However, her body occupying space in my bed and her snoring enraged me. Good night. Remember, I'm here for you, she remarked. I should have asked her to go home right after that. I fell asleep for short periods. I could tell when one of them was about to start. My mind would stop reacting at my command and peculiarly propose topics on its own. That's why I wasn't surprised when a voice talked to me. A voice that I couldn't recognize as mine or anybody else's. Neither male nor female, just words inside my head. Sharp, metallic, impersonal.
I know how you can get some peace,
it said.
Let me out.
Anyone would have been scared out of their wits, but not me. Convinced it consisted of my well-known mind games, I engaged. I want this pain to stop. It's consuming me. I'll do whatever it takes, I replied.
Whatever? Taking a life would help,
said the voice.
Make someone pay for your affliction.
I looked down at my peacefully sleeping girlfriend. Is this lady next to me the right one? She's here for me, I said, with a mixture of pride for her devotion towards me and contempt for her upsetting presence. Her loving words and wishes, her peaceful sleep, her willingness to submit herself to me. Was all that sincere? Was she making fun of me? Did she know what I was going through and use that to belittle me? These questions became part of the parade's song. All of a sudden, hurting her became a seductive temptation. The seduction of what was forbidden, tainted with a corrupted idea of retribution. I was staring at an abyss where a monster might dwell, even under the risk of finding myself mirrored instead. Nevertheless, I wasn't able to discern what followed. My body and mind relaxed like never before, and then nothing else. Whatever pushed from my inside disappeared. Silence. No more parades. Just pleasant, embracing rest. When I got up, it was way past 10. I knew I was dead late for my job, but I didn't care. For the first time in months, even years, I could sleep. I slept. I thought to myself, no pills, no alcohol, no yoga, no meditation, only plain sleeping. Zero tension on my back. My room didn't convey a feeling of claustrophobia. It was flooded with morning light. Even the air inside felt fresh, renewed. She even covered her face with the sheets, I said while stretching, looking at my girlfriend, sleeping in bed next to me. I touched her leg with the tip of my fingers softly. I planned to wake her up with kisses and tell her that I'd prepare breakfast. Her company may have helped out after all, I mused. But something was wrong. The skin of her leg was cold, unresponsive, a disquieting stillness. "Honey," I said, "are you okay?" I pulled back the sheets, uncovering her face. A strong stench erupted. The shock of what was under paralyzed me for an instant. Her face, if I could call that mass of meat a face, had a repulsive, violaceous tone. Her blue eyes were vitreous and sagging, as if her life would have escaped through them. A burn mark almost encircled her long, delicate neck. The lower jaw hung unnaturally to the side. Someone tried to rip it away from her, but failed. Yet, her flesh was so damaged that the bone laid unaligned. Her tongue was in the middle of that cavity, sticking out grotesquely. My paralysis gave pace to outrage. I noticed blood on my hands and wounds on my fingers. Reasoning stopped. I lost consciousness and collapsed. Once I recovered, I realized that I was handcuffed to a bed at the hospital, unable to tell how I ended up there. 2 officers guarded me. "What happened?" I asked, still dizzy from whatever medication they had given me. "Like he doesn't know," one of the officers told the other jokingly. They both laughed and ignored me. Another officer entered and informed me that I was under arrest for the murder of my girlfriend. "As soon as the doctors say, you are leaving this hospital with us," he said. "Please, tell me what happened. Where's my girlfriend?" I begged. "Are you kidding me?" he said with a hostile tone while clenching his fists. "You choked her to death, then bit her face, and almost pulled her jaw out. Was that some sort of a game? They even found one of the girl's teeth stuck in your hand." I didn't. I swear. I was trying to sleep. All I can recall was a voice," I replied. "Oh, please, don't try to play that card. A voice made you do it. I hope your voice can give you legal advice too," the officer said. A doctor stepped into the room and gave me a strong sedative. Then they left me alone. Seconds before it kicked in, I could hear the same familiar voice. Again.
Well done,
it said. "Why?" I asked with rage and pain. "Why did you do this?"
Me? Well, I didn't do anything,
it said.
It was your choice. Don't hold me responsible for your decisions. After all, it was you who said, "She's here for me." Remember? It was you who took it out on her.
The voice revealed itself. It resembled a blurred fog. I needed the same imagination I gave Pace in my room to give this thing a form. Would it be one of those grotesques coming out as a cruel mind trick? I thought. It had no distinctive features, but it knew my oldest memories and my deepest fears. Out of the blue, this thing made several pictures appear, like a deck of cards, which started to revolve over me. Each one of them portrayed any worry, anxiety, and bad memory collected from my life, the same that I would regale during the parade.
I hope you like them, it said. Look, there are 2 more coming. Your dead girlfriend and jail. If only you could remember how you butchered her. She never attempted to fight back, thinking that all was caused by a bad dream. She said, "I love you," until you dislocated her jaw. Then she whined when you almost broke her neck. It was as if you were waiting to discharge your rage on someone, and she was the only one available. Did you like what you found deep down in your soul?
My heart was about to explode. I couldn't process what happened. Was this thing real or another creation of my mind? My brain collapsed. A massive shock of guilt hit me. There was never an entity, though, but a creation of my psyche, a fictitious scapegoat to blame for my condition, one to justify why my rage was directed against the only person who loved me, but inadvertently offered herself as a sacrifice. My poor, sweet girlfriend. With her words, she gave that obscure part of me the idea, being there for me. And I let it prevail. I went into a coma. All that was left of me lived in my mind, accompanied by the entity that I had created and its deck of painful images. It constantly talked to me, making sure I never rested or forgot what I had done. "It'll be like in the old times," it said, except that the whole parade adopted one depiction only. My girlfriend, agonizing under my hands, her last gasps. The bloody mess that was her mouth, a recovered horror given to myself as an ultimate self-inflicted suffering, one so intense that it replaced all the others, like a heavy chain around my neck, under one single instruction: to ensure my affliction.
Never let that memory go away.
Thank you, brave listeners, for joining me today. Please join me again next week for another frightening tale, or listen to one of more than 100 previous episodes. If you enjoyed your time here, please support my work. If you've been watching on YouTube, like the episode and subscribe to the channel. If you've been tuned in on Apple Podcast, please rate the channel as you see fit. And if you've been listening to the program on Spotify, I'd love to hear your comments. Most of all, share frightening tales with those around you and support today's authors however you can. Until next time, when I share with you another frightening tale, listen if you're brave enough.